Hey family, how you doing? Hope you're doing great. We're continuing our reading of the Sword of Allah. If you like this series, please consider donating $1 or $2 to the Patreon, fam. You get access to Baking Philosopher and it helps keep the dream alive. Let's keep going. Okay. Khalid arrived at the walled town of Daumat Ujandal. Okay, so Khalid's there now. On a bright moonlit night in late November 630 mid-Shaban 9 al-Hijri. Hardly had they deployed his force near the town when the gates opened and out came Uqdar, with a few friends mounted on horses and armed with hunting weapons. Perhaps, owing to the heat of the day, Uqdar had decided to hunt in the cool of the night, and the bright moonlight promised good hunting. That's interesting that he wanted to hunt at night. I mean, it's quite hot. I know that in America, you'd be more advised to hunt during the day and wear an orange vest so that you don't accidentally get shot by someone who might have thought you were an elk. I know some people who live in the jungles of Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula. Them hunting at night is a little bit more scary because it's very dark. There's not that many jaguars left. But here, apparently in this area, it's a little bit different type of predators there. And the moon wouldn't make it apparently more complicated because sometimes the shadows produced by the light of the moon can, make you think something else. But the terrain over there must have been enough to where you would be able to spot some good grub. It's quite different. Depends on where you hunt, right? Hunting grounds vary. Khalid took a few of his men and rushed at the hunting party. Oh, so imagine hunting, and then there comes Khalid, the dude who has a very good reputation for whooping butt. Well, Khalid himself pounced on Uqdar and brought him down from his horse. His men assailed the other members of the party. So a Christian prince who's famous for hunting, he's from the tribe of Kinda, had the unfortunate experience of having to be taken down from his horse by Khalid. Uqdar's brother, Hassan, resisted capture and was killed. Oh, he witnessed his brother getting killed. But the rest galloped back to the fort and one side locked the gate. Khalid now returned to Tabuk with his distinguished prisoner. Uqdar entered into a pact with the Prophet, paid a heavy ransom for himself, and agreed to the jizya. That's that tax, remember? A tax levied on non-Muslims. In return, they were exempt from military service, and their safety was guaranteed by the Muslim state. Soon after this incident, the Muslim army left Tabuk to return to Medina. It arrived home in the middle of December 630, by which time the weather had become very pleasant. After Tabuk, there was no majority military activity during the lifetime of the Prophet. So that appears to be the end of the huge conquest part. Like big military things and skirmishes and stuff. But let's see. Delegations came from all the tribes of Arabia. Swore allegiance to the Prophet, accepted Islam, and agreed to pay certain taxes. For each tribe, the Prophet appointed a leader from the converted members of the tribe. The Prophet thus remained busy with the affairs of state, consolidating the gains of Islam and raising the edifice of the new state. Okay, yeah, you're going to be pretty busy now when you've gotten all that and you've all the tribes of Arabia and a lot of people have sworn allegiance. You got to collect taxes, you got to check people. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot going on. Several small expeditions were sent by him to various places in Arabia. The mission given to them was to call the tribes to accept Islam, but in case of armed opposition, the tribe concerned was to be fought and subdued. In July 631, Rabi ul-Akhir 10 al-Hijri, the Prophet sent a military expedition under the command of Khalid to the tribe of Bani Harisa bin Kab in Najran. That's a long name for a tribe. A very long name for a tribe. So notice how many times Khalid is being trusted to lead expeditions. That's something. Wow. gets called the Sword of Allah, and then really, literally has to, like, keep being out there. Survives taking down Uqdar, right? Because he could have easily been killed, right? I mean, if the guy's if Uqdar is confident enough to hunt at night and is famous for being a hunter, he knows how to use his weapons. So let's not pretend like he probably wasn't a tough adversary as well. Which lies to the north of Yemen. The instructions to Khalid were, call the tribe thrice to accept Islam. If they respond favorably, do them no harm. If they refuse, fight them. With Khalid went 400 mountain warriors. So they're mounted, so they're on horseback or camelback. Khalid arrived at Najran and made contact with Bani Harisa bin Ka'b. Okay, so he's at Najran. Let's see what happens. He called upon them to submit to Islam, and they accepted his call. No blood was shed. Khalid remained with the tribe for several months, teaching them the ways of Islam. Wow, so not only did he have to, like, lead the cavalry, right? It's to go in there with 400 mountain dudes, and then has to teach them, has to actually instruct them. And when he was satisfied that they had become good Muslims, he wrote to the Prophet and informed him of the progress of his mission. The Prophet sent Khalid an appreciative letter in reply and instructed him to return to Medina and bring a delegation of the Bani Harisa bin Ka'b with him. So come back to Medina, but when he comes back, he needs to bring some emissaries from the Bani Harisa bin Ka'b tribe. Khalid returned with a delegation in January 632 Shawwal 10 al-Hijri. The Prophet received the delegation with the usual courtesy shown to all delegations. The terms of submission were explained to the delegates. Terms of submission. A leader was appointed for the tribe, and the delegation then returned to Najran. Okay, so they get a leader. Like, you come over, they treat them well. Someone is going to be selected among you to be as maybe looks like an ambassador or appointee. This was the last mission carried out by Khalid in the time of the Prophet. Wow, okay, that's his last mission. Look at that. Well, I mean, he's had a decorated career. Highly decorated. Highly decorated. Okay, part 2, the campaign of the apostasy. The gathering storm. Apostasy had actually begun in the lifetime of the Prophet, and the first major action of the apostasy was fought and satisfactorily concluded while the Prophet was still alive. So there's something there, right? You're going to see rebellions. If you're a new leader, a new movement, you're going to face problems, but even years after, those who have to carry the banner, the standard, enforce the measurements and stuff, there's going to be some people who fall off and have to be corrected. Interesting. But the real and most serious danger of apostasy arose after the Prophet's death, when a wild wave of disbelief after disbelief moved across the length and breadth of Arabia and had to be tackled by Abu Bakr. Okay, so yeah, Abu Bakr's got to go in and check it out. Hence the campaign of the apostasy. Okay, so the campaign of the apostasy, let's put that in brackets, is here taken up as a whole, although chronologically the first of these events belong to part 1 of this history. The first major event of the apostasy occurred in Yemen. Okay, so look at that. Again, a lot of history with Yemen. A lot of history with Islam in Yemen. And is known as the incident of Aswad al-Ansi. Okay, so the incident of Aswad al-Ansi and the campaign of apostasy. Aswad was chief of the Ands, a large tribe inhabiting the western part of Yemen. Okay, so the Ands, let's put them down. They're in Yemen. His actual name was Abhala bin Ka'b. Abhala. That sounds like Valhalla. But because of his very dark color, he was called Aswad, i.e. the black one. A man of many qualities, few of them enviable. He was, before the apostasy, known mainly as a tribal chieftain and soothsayer. Oh, a tribal chieftain soothsayer. Sounds something like a chief would do in a tribe. I mean, chiefs at that time period, even in Native American parts, had a duty of like that. They really had to be connected to the spiritual world.